Hello everyone. I want to talk about the importance of trying things on your own for OCD and anxiety recovery, why this is a skill for life, why most people don't get ahead in their life because they don't work on trying to solve problems on their own, and why it is important to ask for help when you need it. But when it comes to OCD and anxiety recovery, we're usually asking every single simple question there can be. So like, let's say the book's on the reading list, and then someone says to me, I have all sorts of people. Should I start in the middle of the book? Should I start with this homework assignment? Should I do this? And I always have the same answer. I say, yeah, give it a try and go on it and see how you do. And then people don't like that because when it comes to OCD and anxiety suffering, people obviously have the urge to want to know the answers now. Before I go any further, look for that link down below with Phil. As always, direct message him. We can get you in right away. We have a lot of book spots, but we work on a wide range of time zones with the whole team, and we can get you in. And then remember the webinars as always, and the webinars are a lot of fun. 8:30 p.m. UK time. To message Phil about that, phil@ocdrecovery.com. If you don't use the WhatsApp link, whatever you prefer. So, in life, you're not going to be able to do everything that you want to do. And that's unconditional life acceptance. And that's a very important part about life. The second part of that is you're not going to be good at everything. So there's certain things I would say I'm quite good at, and there's other things I'm pretty poor at. Very detailed, orientated type stuff, I'm not the best at. Erica, my wife, is extremely good at that. One thing I don't think my wife is particularly good at is handling extremely stressful situations, which is not a diss, it's just a reality. She would rather have maybe someone else be in the trenches. I'll give you an example. She probably would never want to do what I do with OCD recovery, and most people don't want to do that. Even people who have gotten better from OCD, and not from a fear of being around it. It just is a lot of work. So you got to really have that mindset of, there's going to be a lot of difficulties in this, but there's a lot of things that I had to work on that I wasn't naturally good at, such as staying calm and working on patience. That comes to my wife very naturally. You're not going to be good at everything, and you're not going to be good at all sports and stuff like that. So it is important to highlight that. A little bit off topic, but that's a very important thing. So when it comes to asking about help, the best piece of advice I can give you for your life that I use in my business, I use in my coaching, I use in my relationship, is trying to figure things out on your own before asking for help. Now, most people don't analyze and reflect, and not in an analyzing in an OCD sense. They don't even think about it, and they just say, I don't know what I'm doing. I give in to my urge, and I have to ask questions now. And that is a very bad trait to have as a human. Now, naturally, we all have that because with OCD and anxiety recovery, the suffering feels so immense. So we want to know the answer right now. But one of the most important things about that is getting comfortable without needing an answer. So the one thing I recommend, let's actually go through a couple places that I see people, asking some of these. I just had candy before I started walking. It was amazing. Some of the questions that people ask us. So let's go to the books on the reading list, okay? And I'm going to correlate this to the calls and what people say in the calls. So you have a book on the reading list, and then they'll ask something along the lines of, okay, tell me how to go about breaking beliefs down. And then we'll go over some stuff, and then I'll say something along the lines of, give it a try on your own. And they usually don't like that, right? Because they want to know now, and they want to see progress in every single call. So until you slow that I'll give you an example. You could do 10 calls and you'll probably make a lot of good progress if you put the work in, but there's no guarantee. So you gotta drop the expectations when you're going through the recovery process. Look how nice. It's like just at the right time. These will all be gone in probably a week from now, and it's amazing. It got a little bit hotter out. So like I think the leaves are staying on the trees a little bit longer than normal because usually these colors are gone in like a week. So try to do some of that stuff on your own. If you're really finding it sticky, bring it up in the groups, but maybe in a balanced way. That's not what most people do. So again, these are skills for life. Let's talk about things in your relationship. A lot of people, this goes way beyond the boundaries of our OCD. When people come in, they ask us, what should I do about this situation in my marriage? What should I do about this situation in my relationship? And my immediate response is, well, let's go over some of the beliefs, and then you take a think about it, and you go off on your own and see how it goes. And people do not like that. They want to know what to do now. They want to know exactly the correct answer to make, and they don't want to make any mistakes. And until the sufferer becomes comfortable with the idea that they could be making a mistake, they're not really going to get very far in the recovery process. So you're going to have to take the risk of trying things. There are no rules when it comes to OCD and anxiety recovery. There's just probabilities, belief systems, and behaviors. There's absolutely no rules whatsoever, and you're going to have to get comfortable with that. Because if you don't get comfortable with that, chances are you're not going to make any progress in your life. So, it's the morning. Close enough, though. So it is really, really important to think about that. And it's hilarious. They said good afternoon. I just corrected them and said it's the morning, which it is. That's hilarious. I think it's hilarious. So that's one of the reasons, one of the other places that people are constantly looking to ask questions on. The other one is your overall progress with recovery in general. So constantly asking, am I making progress? Am I doing this properly? How do I know if I should do this or not? How do I know that? What about this? What about that? That entire process has to be slowed down if you want to give yourself the best shot of OCD and anxiety recovery, because you're not really going to get very far until you become comfortable with not needing an answer. And again, the amount of people that spend their whole lives looking for perfect answers before they start a business or for anything like that is very, very high. And then most people don't make any changes whatsoever. I'll give you an example. How do I know if I'm going to be able to do XYZ, make XYZ amount of content? Okay, that's a good example. Well, that's because one of my strongest suits is I'm very good at bulldozing through tasks and getting them done. I'm a very task-oriented individual. And I would say I put myself in the top 1% of the world, or even lower than that when it comes to tasks. Because I see it with working with lots of people where they're really bad at doing tasks, but maybe they're better at seeing the bigger picture. But none of that actually matters. What matters is whatever you're trying to do, you're going to have to try that first, see how you do, reflect, and then make an adjustment. Most people are looking for too much information, then they spin their wheels, they make no decisions, and they go nowhere in life. And that goes for your relationships, that goes for your income, that goes for OCD and anxiety recovery. This is a really nice one. Or anything like that. And most people become stagnant. Even though the statement's cliche, if you're not growing, you're dying, which is not necessarily true by any means, there is truth to it to a degree. There's pieces of that. If you're not trying new things, if you're not going out and trying new hobbies or new goals, and you're not reflecting on things in your life, the chances are you're not going to get very far in your life. And if that's your choice, that's your choice. But most of you usually want more than that. Most people want more out of life. They want better lasting relationships. They want more intimacy. They want more romance. They want more money. They want a lot of things in their life. But the chances are they're not going to get those things, most people, because they're too busy looking for the perfect solution. I just came from a friend's of mine's house, literally right before this. We had a great hour-long conversation about, he's a real estate guy, and he told me he bought 3 residential homes so far this year and 1 commercial property. And I was like, how much time do you spend reading about this stuff? And he's like, not really. He goes, I know what I want to do, but I spend a lot of my time calling realtors, finding deals, looking for foreclosures, and doing stuff like that. So he makes the actionable steps. And he was telling me how much money he added to his overhead, passive income, and I was very impressed. And he's someone I really do enjoy hanging. I see him only a couple times a year. So that's really, really important to cover. But that is the biggest difference when it comes to, there's a pup. There's some going past all the dogs again. They're going to bark and probably scare the shit out of me. So you got to think about that. Make a list of the things that are most important for you when it comes to OCD and anxiety recovery, and then start chipping away at those things, bringing some balanced questions to the calls, not asking us to do everything for you. I can't tell you the amount of people that show up on calls and they're like, can you help me break down my beliefs? And I just say, sure, but I want some input by you, and they want to sit there and do nothing. And that's not going to actually get you anywhere in your life, because you got to take a proactive approach. How you doing? And that's a mistake that basically everyone makes in OCD recovery at some point, is putting too much emphasis on other people doing the work for you. Same thing with people we work with who are 18, 19, 20 years old, still relying heavily on your parents. Very, very understandable, especially because there's different conditions. But you're gonna have to take a risk and go out on your own. If you're waiting for your, where are you at? If you're just waiting for your parents to do everything for you, you're going to have very, very low grit. And grit is synonymous with high frustration tolerance. If you have high grit, you have high frustration tolerance. If you have low grit, you have low frustration tolerance. And you're not really good at solving problems. So again, it all comes down to the fear of making a mistake. This is what all this is about. Everything I'm talking about in this video is the fear of making a mistake. and not getting something right. And when you have OCD and anxiety, you're so petrified of doing anything wrong that will keep you stuck in the cycle. So then you just ask a million questions, and then that's not good for you. It's really not. And it keeps you stuck in that cycle. So these are just things I want you to think about when you're going through. Let me give you a realistic problem about how something might work in my life. Let's say I have a problem that I realize and notice is becoming an issue in my relationship, So what I do is I actually start to make a actionable plan in my mind about wanting to change that. So let's say I was maybe raising my voice or giving Erica a little bit more attitude after long days of work, because it's natural and it's humans, and couples will give themselves attitude when they're more comfortable with them. It's just how life works. Anyone telling you you're going to be in a relationship and have lovey-dovey feelings all the time is not good. This is also why the ick is very irrational. There is no such thing as the ick. There's only low frustration tolerance, and you're going to disagree with your partners. But let's say I wanted to change a particular subset of the way I was presenting discussions to Erica. I would highlight that. I would make a note of it in I do write goals down. It's something I do. I didn't do it for a while. I came back to that. And I try to work on it. And if something is finding sticky, maybe I'll bring it up to Erica later. And this would be the same thing that you might want to think about. Now, if you're in the very beginning of the recovery journey, this is understandable because you really don't know what you're doing. But many of you are 6, 12, 9, 6, 9, 12 months in, you're 2 years in, and you're still stuck in that same pattern of asking questions over and over and over again. You're asking the same questions over and over and over again. This is exactly what most people do. I'll give you another example. Like anything about building a business, or you're doing something with putting money into the markets or something like that. You don't need anyone's opinion on that, to be honest. You just need to have the consistency of putting it in over and over and over and over and over again, and then seeing how it goes. And then, and it might not work out into your favor. It's the same thing with dating. How do I go out and date? How do I go out and do this? How do I meet people? How am I going to do this? Blah, 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 blah. I almost never ask myself, how am I going to get this done? I just do it and figure it out as I'm doing it. And that has put me ahead a lot in my life and many particular things. Some things I'm really bad at, and I have to continue working on that, but I still go over and over and over and over and over again. And that's the mistake that most people make. I'll give you an example for this. I'm walking around neighborhoods when I make these videos. I'm walking past people. The amount of people that would be so afraid to do this because of their fears of rejection. Oh my God, what if they think I'm a loser? Because I'm literally have this on a selfie stick. When I begin in the beginning, I walk on the main road, so cars drive by, and they're like, oh, what if people judge me here? They think I'm stupid or something like that. Those type of things will hold you back for the remainder of your life. You're going to have to get comfortable with judgment. I have absolutely no fear of people judging me anymore, whether it's a physical judgment, whether it's a psychological judgment or an intellectual judgment. Doesn't mean I like it. That's the biggest mistake with, you see these fancy titles of stuff. The subtle art of not giving a fuck. You give a fuck, and you care a lot. Some of the biggest names on social media that portray that they don't care what other people think about them, they care the most. If I sat them down and did coaching sessions with them, if they were open-minded to it, I could easily break down their beliefs, because I would say, if you actually didn't care what people thought about you, you wouldn't have to say it. You wouldn't have to announce it like a badge of honor. It's like someone that goes to a party and they're like, I'm Dr. So-and-so. It's like, yeah, we're at like an event that has nothing to do with your profession, and we really just don't care that you're a doctor, so you're just a human. So and that's so easy to fall into, and that's what most people do. They always introduce themselves with their intellects and stuff like that. I did this my whole life, and it all came from fear of rejection. And this is what this whole entire video is about as I'm coming up to my house, is the fear of rejection, the fear of losing control, and the fear of making a mistake. And you don't want to make mistakes because people don't like looking stupid. And if they look stupid, they're afraid they're going to be judged. And that's the main thing that people do. So you got to get comfortable with trying things on your own. You got to get comfortable with making mistakes. If you want to give yourself the best opportunity for recovery and advancing in your life. The amount of you right now that are going to watch this video, and there's something you want to do in your life and you're just not making the actionable steps to do it. And something I really love by Ray Dalio, I know I've been bringing him up a lot recently because I'm rereading his book again. I know Sam Williams is reading it, and I got it from Rob a couple of years ago, is that, oh crap, I just lost my point as I was walking up, because I thought about, I just was like, oh, what do I have to do later today? So I lost it. Oh yeah, anyway, so life, and this is the big mistake I made. When it comes to trying things on your own without asking, and again, it's not that you can never ask for people's help. It's not that that ever gets easier. You just get more efficient at that. And that's really where things start to change. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, look for the What's Up link down below, phil@ocdrecovery.com, and we hope to hear from you soon. Have a good one, everyone.